Keeping up with our motto that learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure, here we are with the remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students! Today we are going to continue with class 9 science chapter number 12 study of sound. Topics that I am going to cover during this session are reflection of sound, echo, reverberation, sonar technique, sonography and human ear. Let us understand reflection of sound with the help of one experiment. For this, you have to take a hard plywood and arrange it on the side of the wall as shown over here. Take another soft wood and arrange it in the direction vertical to that of the hard plywood. Then take two sufficiently long cardboard tubes of equal sizes and arrange them as shown in the picture. Place a clock near the end of one of the tubes and try to hear the ticking sound of the clock at the other end of the other tube by placing your ear there. Adjust the angles of these two tubes till you can hear the sound very clearly. Then measure the angle of incidence, that is I, and the angle of reflection, that is R. Try to see if they are related in any way. Like light waves, sound waves too get reflected from the solid or the liquid surface. These waves are also following the laws of reflection of light. A smooth or the rough surface is needed for the reflection of sound. Here you can see this is the incident sound and this is the reflected sound. I is the angle of incidence and R is the angle of reflection. The direction of the incident sound wave and the reflected wave, they make equal angle with the perpendicular line to the surface, and all these three lines lie in the same plane. Sound is not reflected equally from different materials. Hard surfaces reflects more sound, whereas bad reflectors of the sound are in fact good absorbers, like soft thick curtains, thick carpet, old cardboard are the examples of good absorbers of sound. As shown in the picture, you must have visited an echo point at a hill station. If you shout loudly at such a point, then you can hear the same sound just after a little while. This sound is called an echo. An echo is the repetition of the original sound because of the reflection by some surfaces. Sound waves can be reflected by large hard surfaces like buildings, walls and cliffs. If the reflected sound is heard as a separate sound after an interval of silence, then it is called an echo. If the original sound just seems prolonged, this effect is known as reverberation. We will see reverberation in detail in the coming slides, and we will also see the difference between echo and reverberation. Let us understand that how echo is heard. To hear distinct echoes, the reflecting surface must be far enough from the source of the sound. But how far it should be? Let us calculate it. Over here you can see a person is standing at a certain distance from the wall. Say for example, this distance is D. We need to calculate the value of this distance at which the person is standing from the reflecting surface so that he can hear the echo. Or in other words, I can say that we need to find out the minimum distance at which the reflecting surface should be from the person so that an echo can be heard. So let us calculate. We know the formula for speed, that is equal to distance upon time. So from that we can get the value of distance, that is equal to speed into time. Over here, the distance that is traveled by the sound is twice d. Why? Because the sound will go in this direction and then it will get reflected and come back. So the total distance covered by the sound is twice the value of that distance. So it is 2d. So 2d is equals to v, that is the speed of the sound, into time taken. We know that the speed of the sound in air at 20 degrees Celsius is 344 meter per second. And our brain retains a sound for 0.1 second. So we can take the value of t as 1 upon 10 seconds. That is nothing but 0.1 seconds. So substituting these values in the formula, we get 2d is equal to 344 into 0.1, that is 34.4 meter. So we get the value of d as 17.2 meters. Hence, for hearing a distant echo, the minimum distance of the obstacle from the source of the sound, it should be 17.2 meter. The distance changes with the change in temperature of air. Why? Because at different temperature of air, the speed of the sound is different. Here at 20 degree, it is 344 meter per second. But at different temperature, the value of speed will change, and so the value of distance will also change. Echo and reverberation. An echo is the repetition of original sound because of reflection by some surface. Over here you can see it is a repetition of original sound, that is hello, 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 like that you will hear. But reverberation, sound waves, they get reflected from the walls and the roofs of the room multiple times. This causes a single sound to be heard not once but continuously, like hello. So this is called reverberation. You can see over here in this picture, this is the source of the sound, and the sound waves from this source are reflecting from the walls and the roofs of the room multiple times, and then they are reaching the person. Whereas in echo, the sound is only reflected once and then it is reaching the person. Echoes may be heard more than once due to the repeated or multiple reflections of sound from several reflecting surfaces. Persistence of sound wave for a long time because of repeated reflections of sound, they are called reverberation. Usually this happens in a big halls. Sound becomes too blurred and distorted to be heard in big concert halls because of reverberation. This can often lead to annoyance. So how it can be prevented? Reverberations can be prevented by stopping the reflection of sound. And this could be done by using soft sound absorbent materials such as curtains, plant fiber, compressed fireboard, carpets, etc. If they are used in the auditorium, then this problem can be resolved. This material absorb undesired reflected sound and reduces the reverberations. Let us understand the sonar technology. We have seen in the previous session that ultrasound is used in sonar technology. What is sonar technology? The full form is sound navigation ranging technique. It is used for detecting and determining the distance and direction of underwater objects by acoustic means. A sonar device sends pulses of sound waves down through the water. When these pulses hit the objects like fish, vegetation, or the bottom, they are reflected back to the surface. As shown over here in the picture, you can see the pulses of sound waves are going down in the water, and after hitting an obstacle, they are sent back. They are reflected back to the surface. The sonar device measures how long it takes for the sound waves to travel down, hit the object, and then bounce back. Let us understand this mechanism with the help of this diagram. Over here you can see there is a ship with a sonar system at the bottom. Over here there are transmitters which transmits the sound waves. These sound waves travel in the downward direction. When they hit an object, they are reflected back and they reach the receiver. The receiver converts the ultrasound into electrical signals and these signals are properly interpreted. The time difference between the transmission and the reception is noted. This time and the velocity of the sound in water gives the distance from the ship of the object which reflects the waves. Sonar is used to determine the depth of the sea. It is also used to search underwater hills, valleys, submarines, icebergs, sunken ships, etc. Sonography. Sonography is a diagnostic medical procedure that uses high-frequency sound waves, that is ultrasound, to produce dynamic visual images of the organs, tissues, or blood flow inside the body. This type of procedure is often referred to as sonogram or ultrasound exam. You can see over here in the picture, this is the ultrasound of abdomen. And over here you can see on the computer screen the sonogram, the image of the internal organs generated on the screen. Here in this picture, the ultrasound of the neck is taken. Let us understand the mechanism of sonography. It uses a small probe that is called transducer. Over here you can see this is the transducer and the gel is placed directly on the skin. High frequency sound waves travels from the probe through the gel into the body. The probe collects the sounds and that bounce back. A computer uses those sound waves to create an image like this. This is the image of the baby inside the womb of a pregnant woman. Sonography is used to help diagnose the causes of pain, swelling, and infection in the body's internal organs, and to examine a baby in the pregnant women and the brain and the hips in infants. They can also show the blood flowing through the blood vessels. In the third picture, you can see over here a doctor conducting a sonography of abdomen with the help of a probe. If we maximize this image, we can see the position and condition of the different organs like liver, kidney, diaphragm, etc. Of course, we won't be able to understand it, but yes, the doctor can understand and interpret this kind of visual images. Picture shows the structure of the human ear. The ear is an important sensory organ of the human body. We hear sound because of our ear. When sound waves fall on the eardrum, it vibrates. These vibrations are converted into electrical signals which travel to the brain through the nerves. The ear can be divided into three parts: the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. Let us understand all these three parts. The outer ear collects the sound waves and passes them through the tube to a cavity in the middle ear. Its peculiar funnel-like shape helps to collect and pass the sound into the middle ear. There is a thin membrane in the cavity of the middle ear that is called eardrum. When a compression in the sound wave reaches the eardrum, the pressure outside it increases and it gets pushed inwards. The opposite happens when the rarefaction reaches there. The pressure outside decreases and the membrane gets pulled outwards. Thus, sound waves cause vibration of the membrane. The auditory nerve connects the inner ear to the brain. Here you can see the auditory nerves are there which connects the inner ear to the brain. The inner ear has the structure resembling to the shell of the snail. It is called cochlea. The cochlea receives the vibrations coming from the membrane and converts them into electrical signals which are sent to the brain through the nerves. The brain analyzes these signals and interprets the sound. So, this is all about the structure of human ear. Here we finish the chapter. So, thank you so much. This is all for today's session.